So we've got the TT in the booth. We're about to sort of like finish any work on it prep wise, just basically panel wiping it down IPA, just so we can see any marks or defects that might be on it. And to be fair, you know, for a black car it's in pretty good nick. We found a bit of like overspray. I'm not sure if it's compound, but just in all the gutters down here, it's either compound or it's clear coat from any paint that's been done, and it's really stuck on. So that's the sort of thing we're going to have to really focus on with this one, because it's quite obvious that it's there, and being black we need to make sure we get that off. But you know what, for a black car it's in pretty good nick. So we'll give you some more updates as we go along, show you a few defects, show a bit of work on it, and then we'll do a really good review on this car, because as I said, the spec is massive. Inside here, which you can just see little white speckles, and down here again the camera's not really going to pick this up, which is quite annoying, but it's just full of it's either compound or it's a clear coat that's been sanded and then left. Probably see a little bit better there when I actually show you the white residue. It just looks like a bit of dust really, but it's actually, again, it is either a compound or it's possibly some form of clear coat that's dried when it's been sanded, and it's right in the actual window guttering. So unless we really get something to work that out, that's going to be obvious once the car's detailed. None of the areas always bad on cars where the badges have been, and the truth is you can only really fix those areas perfect if you take the badge off, put a new badge on, or re-tape line the actual badge it's on. We do have tools available. We use these little buff tools here. You can get into the badges and you can actually try and fix them, and it does work to a point, but it's not perfect. I don't care what anybody tells you, you will find defects under the right lighting. This badge is really bad. I'm not sure what's actually in it. It looks like glue has been around it where it's been rebonded. Something's definitely stuck to it. So this is going to be a bit of a challenge to get off. We'll show it now before. Hopefully we can have a good after picture. Stand by my word with the condition of the paint on this TTS, because you know what, it is really good. It's not got a lot of course at all. The marks are all just little fine little marks across the paint, they're not really swirls. There has been some fresh paint in certain areas and that needs sorting because of some dry patches like here. The biggest problems we've got is what you've just seen on the video I've just put on. This is like side skirts, front of your bumper, corners of the wings, where they've been either scratched really badly, mainly obviously skirts here is due to shoes, trousers, and clothing that drags across them when you're trying to get out, especially when you're not trying to stand on big side skirts like that. That's quite common. The front bumper is because where you wash them, the amount of dirt that gets into these areas, it's almost impossible to not mark the car even if you pre-wash it properly, because that can stain and bed in quite bad. So that needs quite a lot of work with the micro tools. And otherwise, do you know what, it is in good condition. The colour loss is marginal, you really wouldn't notice it outside. We can see it in here, and I am going to make a big difference on that. The back bumper that you just saw with the marks on it, there is a bit of colour loss there, but again you wouldn't see that outside, but under our lights, straight under the two micro lights at the back, you can really see that, and that needs resolving. But you know what, we did the bonnet yesterday, we did the boot, and we did the top of the roof side sections, and I've almost got a correction level on the actual bonnet, and we only spent 3 hours on that so far. So there's going to be some good results coming out of this.
And you know I look good when I
You leave private reg on.
I'm a straight rider, you can't deny it. No, you wanna fuck with me. No, you wanna fuck with the bosses, fuck with bad bitches.
I honestly don't have a clue how we're going to get into here to fix that the way we need to do it, but let's see what we can do. So what you're basically going to see me doing now is working on the plastic side sills, or we might call them a side skirt because they are an extension to standard metal pillars basically. This one's got the standard plastic ones from the TTS, TTRS, and then we've got the carbon extension on the bottom. As you saw in the video clip prior, this is quite badly marked and scratched, and that is generally from, like we said, it's from shoes, it's from the back of jeans, it's from general clothing, and it's very difficult to get out of cars without doing that nowadays, unless you're very picky and you're aware of it. The other problem is when you've got big sills and extensions like this has, you do have to basically stretch even further to get in and out, so it's quite easy to catch them. Now what I'm going to show you on here is we're going to use a rotary, because it's the only way that's going to get this out. A DA would not do it. The other problem is, when I show you on the camera here, basically if I use a dual action buffer here, what it's going to do is oscillate, and by oscillating it's going to hit the panel, and that's going to cause damage. So it's actually not a practical tool to be using anyway. Now I'll show you on here when we've done it. We are not going to get every one of these marks out. There is a way of doing that, and that's by me going over it with something like a 6000 and wet sanding it, and I pretty much would get all those marks out. The reality is we're taking away a lot of the clear coat, we're going down to the paint levels, and this is probably going to get scratched yet again moving forward, especially when it's covered in dirt or gravel, and then people get out the car. So by doing that, we're actually damaging the paint. Yes, it can be done. Yeah, it looks really good on your videos. Your customer can think that you've done the best job in the world, but what you don't tell them is how thin you've made the paint. That's what we do tell you. So as I say, we're going to go over this with a rotary. I'm going to show you that on the actual video. I'm going to show you how good we've got it, and then I'm going to let you see why we've left a few little marks in there, and that is, like we said, to keep the paint built up. Then put the ceramic coating on and build it up even further, which will hide it a little bit more because it'll fill for us, but it'll put a tougher protection on. The ceramic is going to be so much tougher than the clear coat. It's also going to put a protection layer on there, which will actually reduce or even stop those scratches from happening anywhere near like they do on standard clear coat, especially on plastic. So that's the way we're going to do it, and that's the reason behind. So that's basically the result we've got from literally 5 minutes going over it with a rotary, where you could have spent 25 minutes doing that with a DA and still not got anywhere near the results, plus damaged other panels. We're going to do a few more skims. We're then going to refine it, because that could possibly have put some buffer trailing going onto heavy pads and speeds, and then we'll get some more videos of this at the end of it showing the results that that's actually got, even though there is, realistically and being truthful, a few little marks still actually in there. A bit of a reality kind of check on what we do at Inspired. We've basically coated the car apart from one area now, which is basically the front grills, and as you can tell on the TTRS bumper there's a lot of grills to do. The thing that we do, and depending on your booking obviously, is how many layers you have. We replicate that on the grills as well. There's no kind of shortcuts, there just isn't, and it's one of the most tedious things we do. So now we're going to start coating the grills, and we're not going to do them once, we're going to do them 4 times. Really tedious, but it's worth it.